All right, welcome everybody to the introduction to Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider. We can start now. Um, wow, Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider is a specialty class of Access Consciousness. If you haven't heard of Access Consciousness, go to accessconsciousness.com, but it's a set of tools that can help you literally change everything. And that includes in the horse world, like I can't even explain to you how much these questions and tools can change your experience, your whatever you do with horses, whether you have never been around a horse or you're new to horses or you're advanced with horses and you actually do competitions or jumping or you just want to get back in the saddle. You just get to start with where you're at with these tools. So Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider began a long, long time ago with Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness. And he and Dane, the co-founder of Access Consciousness, they love horses and they've had horses for a long time. And they were noticing that some people weren't actually being present with the horse itself. The horse was more like something to be controlled or overcome, or, the horse was a little bit scary. And their tipping point when they actually started to create this class was when they saw a lady, sometimes horses can be scary to people. And some people, in order to even get on them or, get the veterinarian out there for them, they drug their horses. But this one lady, every time she wanted to get on her horse, she had to drug her horse in order for him to be calm enough for her to handle. She was never present with the horse or asking the horse questions or acknowledging the actual being of the horse in order to commune with the horse. She just wanted to, be safe, have control and not die. I think it was a stallion, I'm not sure. And so they were like, wow, this doesn't have to be this way. Like, what could we do to change this? What could we create that would create a different possibility with people and horses? So they decided to create Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider, where a few things, you actually acknowledge the being of the horse. You start to ask questions about what the horse is actually capable of, what the horse would like to do. A lot of times when horses are behaving badly, they're just trying to communicate something. So a question always creates when you are in the world of horses or trying to create a relationship with a horse. And the cool thing about Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider is you can take all of these tools and apply it everywhere in your life. You could even ask about your relationships or business or your body. If you have a bad horse or your business relationship body is fighting against you or you have that point of view, you can start to ask these same exact questions with all of those things too. And when you're out with a horse, you can start to see where your energy is actually creating or not creating, because a horse never lies. And since you use the same energies as you do with a horse out in life, you get to change so many things with the horse and allow all of that to change outside of the arena also, or outside of the pen. Kind of like yoga. You know how in yoga, if anybody ever done yoga before? I have. Like in yoga, they say you can change your life on the mat just by, letting go of points of view, breathing, relaxing. Same thing with horses. But in my personal opinion, it's like turbocharged change. Like it is so fast and you might not notice it that day when you do it. It might be really frustrating. Sometimes change is not comfortable. But once you start to acknowledge what you have changed and you never come to conclusion about what's wrong or what you've got right, but you start to ask questions, you allow the gift of what the horses can show you to grow even more. And it will continue to grow more and more throughout your entire life, even beyond the interaction or the relationship with that horse. So, and then if there's any questions, sometimes I can read Espanol, but I don't know if I'll be able to right now. And Portuguese, probably won't be able to. So if you see any questions, please, translators, let me know if you can translate those and do 2 million things all at the same time. Thank you. So who can take this class? The Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider class. Well, again, Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider has now been around for probably like 15 years or something. And it's been kind of this little hidden gem. It's been this little gem that, not too many people know about yet. And a lot do. And a lot are like, well, maybe someday, or that's definitely not for me. I'm not a horse person. But this class truly is for everybody. Again, whether you are brand new to horses or you're afraid of horses, wow, what could that change? How you want something more in life, but you don't really know how to get there, or you have these dreams, but you never really take action to choose them. Or if you do, it doesn't really turn out the way you want it to. It's like you get to start with where you're at. So with the horses too, you get to start with where you're at. And in these classes, you get to explore what's actually true for you without regard for what anybody thinks you should be doing, and without regard for what you think other people think you should be doing or being, or where you should be. You get to let go of all of your points of view, all of the judgments that are either projected on you or that you have created for yourself to please others. In the Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider classes and in Access, we also use the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement, which is right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, covids, and beyonds. You can see that. You can check it out at theclearingstatement.com. My brain's funny right now. I'm like, by the way, I'm Alison Cox. If I didn't introduce myself at the beginning, hi, I'm a Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider, certified facilitator. I've been facilitating this class for like, I don't know, 5 years maybe. I can't count right now. And it has changed my life so much. So going into like, who can take this class again? When I first started, I didn't get to grow up with horses. Where I grew up in my family, horses were always too expensive. We could wave at the horses like across the fence, in other people's properties or driving down the highway. My dad always played a joke because I was like, let's stop everywhere and look at horses. And so he's like, do you want to stop at those ones? I'm like, yeah. He's like, vroom, he'd step on the gas pedal and we'd die laughing because we weren't stopping for all the horses that I wanted to stop at. So obsessed with horses, but as you get older and you start going to school and you have to work and you have to create your life, like those dreams that you had as a kid start to dwindle and turn into something else. Maybe you have to take care of a family, try to handle everything. Money, family, jobs. Who has time for horses? Who has time for their childhood dreams? Maybe next lifetime. But I say no. What if you didn't have to stop yourself from what you would like to do or be ever again? What would truly bring you joy? And so I started asking a question. I had taken so many Access Consciousness classes and my life started getting greater that I almost felt bored. So one New Year's, like 6 years ago or longer, I don't know, I was like, oh, wow, everything's going pretty well and I should be really happy and satisfied and stop here, except I feel like there's something more. Like, what if I could really ask for anything? If these tools really worked, and I'm pretty sure they do, if I could actually be anything I wanted to be without regard for if I had the skills for it, if I had the money for it, if I had the time for it, what would I ask for? So I just asked, and you can do this with, again, anything, and with your horses, with your life. I just asked, okay, what did I want to do as a kid that I forgot about? So I was like, oh, it took me a minute, but I was like, horses. Like, uh-oh, I don't fit the mold. I didn't grow up with horses. I'm not already a famous horse person. I don't even know what a withers is. I don't think I really knew what withers were. Like back then, I didn't know the parts of the horses or anything. I was like, but something's there. Like, I would really like to pursue this. I had ridden horses a lot, but I had probably ridden more elephants and camels traveling the world than I had horses at that point. I'm like, let's just give it a shot. So I just asked the universe, I was like, hey, universe, what would it take to play with horses every day and make money? We'll see where that goes. So a little while later, I met a lady in South Carolina that was like, I'm an equine massage therapist. And I was like, that matches the energy of what I had just asked for. I was like, okay, where did you go? What did you do to become that? She's like, I went to a little place in Elizabeth, Colorado. I was like, Elizabeth, Colorado? That's literally 30 minutes from where I live. So I signed up the next week and I became an equine massage therapist, and a really good one. And then a few weeks later, Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider certified facilitator training showed up on the Access website. I was like, wow, what would that take? That definitely matches the energy of the future I would like to have and the future I asked for. All right, let's just go for it. I took the class. I became certified. I ran the clearings for myself. There's a bunch of clearings that you get in a manual. This isn't the first lifetime you've ever been around horses, by the way. So I cleared every single limitation I could possibly clear about what I thought of me and horses, what I thought that I was capable of with horses. I cleared all the limitations, blocking out what I used to be capable of with horses in other lifetimes. And I asked for the future with horses that I never knew was possible to show up. So I got to give my first class, and I think there were only 2 people in it, and it changed their lives and it changed my life. And I was like, wow, if I can do this, what else can I do? And that started growing into people started calling from other countries. I'm like, people are calling from other countries for me and horses? What? But I'm like, well, this is what I asked for. Uncomfortable, let's go for it. So I started practicing and I started getting better, and I knew what the withers are, and I learned different ways of riding, and there is no wrong way to choose your avenue with horses, whether you want to do it in competitive ways, whether you want to have a relationship with a horse, whether you just want to hang out with one. There's no right or wrong way. And I can say I'm definitely creating my own unique adventure with horses, kind of dabbling in everything and beyond. So if you could truly have anything, and you could truly know that if you ask, you will receive it, what could you ask for in regards to horses and you? Everything that is and everything that doesn't allow it, will you destroy and uncreate it times a godzillion? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys, povits, and beyonds. Everything that horses mean to you, will you destroy and uncreate it times a godzillion? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all 9 shorts, boys, povits, and beyonds. Everything that you mean to horses, will you destroy and uncreate all of that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys, povits, and beyonds. And everything, all of the decisions, judgments, conclusions, and computations that you have about you in regards to horses, will you destroy and uncreate all of that times a godzillion? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys, povits, and beyonds. And as I started to continue my journey, I started to notice that there was something really, really, really different about these Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider classes. They were not only empowering the horses as a being, not some like weird, mysterious thing that you can never understand. Or if you start to get to notice or start to get to know horses, they all have different personalities, desires. They are all over the board. They're just as different as all of the people on the planet. And so I started to notice that, wow, some horses loved what they were doing. Some didn't love what they were doing. A lot of the owners started to have a totally different relationship with their horse. And they had more ease with horses than they ever had after owning the horse for 18 years. There was a lady in Belgium, and she was just, I think we had only done like maybe the first day of class, and we did this exercise called the trust exercise, where you get up on the horse and you can just sit up there and allow the horse to take care of you. You can lean over and hug the horse. You can lean back and lay on the horse and allow the horse, trust yourself, and see what shows up. And I can't explain in words what shows up in that exercise, because there usually literally are no words. It's just energy. Horses speak in energy, and so do you. But she didn't know exactly what changed in that class until after she got home to ride her horse in a competition the next week. And she was also, before the class, thinking about quitting. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's not as fun. Like, everything was just, the horse was acting up sometimes, or all these things. And afterwards, riding him, like, they just had this communion. I have goosebumps even talking about it. They had this new relationship that was always there, but was always muffled by all of these other judgments or awarenesses or whatever it was. And we had cleared all of that in class, and she was able to do better in the following competition than she ever had before, while having more fun than she had ever had before. And they decided to join more competitions after that, through joy, not through having to, not through proving, not through judgment. And it was just a whole new playing level for her. So anywhere where any of you have decided that you have got it all right, or you'll never get it all right, therefore why go on or even try something new or ask for something greater? Will you destroy and uncreate all of that times a godzillion? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Wow. What if you could always ask for more and always ask for greater? There's an infinite universe that includes you and your infinite capacities, your infinite abilities, and that includes the horses too. What can we now ask for that has never existed before? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Yes. See, I can read Spanish. What would it take for me to actualize this class with total ease, joy, and glory? So you can ask for anything. Good job to start asking now. What would you like to ask for? And let's see. Do you guys have any questions so far? Again, I know there's like about 300 people on this call. Some people know horses very well. Some know conscious rider. Some have no idea why they're here and have never been on a horse or who knows what. So if you have any questions or you would like to ask anything, please raise your hand. Roberta. She's going to ask a question and translate at the same time. And I think she's just asking in Spanish first. Or not. Oh, I just saw your hand raised.
Sorry, I was reading. Thank you for letting me know that I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, good.
Okay. Brenda is asking, her daughter loves horses and they don't know why. She wants to have classes where she could apply these tools. What would this class contribute for her horses classes, the ones that she already has?
Right.
Okay.
Thank you. And then did you need to read it again, or are you good for in Espanol? Thanks for your patience, everybody. So what I love about Access Consciousness and Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider is that you can add it to anything. One of the most amazing tools that has changed everything for me is a tool called Light and Heavy. What's light for you is what's true for you. What expands your universe is actually true for you. What's heavy what contracts your universe, what's heavy is a lie. So if you look into the horse world, I love the horse world because it is one of the most judgmental universes that exist on our planet when you put people and horses together. If you ask 100 people how to do a certain thing with a horse, you will get 103 different answers because some of those people will change their mind. So everybody has a point of view about what is the right way or the wrong way to do horses. So when you're in class, like when you're in a class, the horse classes you're already taking, you get to start to use these tools to see what's true for you. What questions can you ask that are actually going to allow greater results to show up for you and the horses and possibly your coaches. You can even use these tools to gain greater relationships with your coaches, your bosses, your whoever, your facilitators, and allow them to show you things that they have never shown you before. Sometimes people have been trained just to go through the motions and look for the things that they're supposed to, and they literally have their blinders on. So when you ask questions and when you apply these tools, you don't have to go around telling your class what to do. Please don't do that. But you can start to literally ask questions and allow them to start showing you new things. Every time I get on a horse, I ask the horse, hey, what can you show me today that I have never considered before? And you can also ask yourself and your body, hey, what can I show you that you have never considered before? Horses can learn from you too. So that's one thing. And then also in the Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider class, there are a lot of body processes that you get to learn also. So body processes are just a hands-on energetic work. With horses, it depends on the horse. You want to ask, of course, hey, can I work on you? Would you like to be touched? Or sometimes horses are like, do not touch me today. So you can run them from a distance or outside the pen, depending on someone's mood. But you start to learn these energetic body processes. So your body will learn them, the horse's body will learn them, and they start to unlock fixed points of view that are locked in the body. So if your horse maybe doesn't move in a certain way or is injured or has mental things like they're scared of water, you can start to, or they're old, or they were a racehorse and they have, arthritis, like all kinds of stuff. You can ask, I think there's 25, there's a lot of body processes in the manual, but you can ask okay, body, horse body, which of these processes do you require? You run those processes and you start to see different things unfold in their body, their peace of mind, their attitude, their energy. And again, you're not making the horse do anything. You're not healing the horse. These are to facilitate the horse to choose to change these things. And the cool thing about horses and animals in general, is they choose to change pretty fast. You'll see changes in this class instantaneously. We had a horse here in Colorado in a class who their back was very bowed, really bowed. And his mom had the same thing. And he was pretty young. So we're like, what are you doing? And I don't even know how old she is, but I worked on her a few days before and we worked on him in the class, but we literally just put our hands on the tail and the withers and just asked for one of the body processes to run. And she wanted about 5 minutes of a body process. He wanted a little bit longer. We were able to work on him for a long time, but with both horses, her back, I took before and after pictures, went from this to about there. And the color of her coat changed. She went from a dull kind of tanny orangey color to a shiny gold. Literally, I ran the process for 5 minutes, left her for about 40 minutes, came back and was like, is this the same horse? She was a completely different horse. And with her son, his back just went completely straight, basically underneath right before our very eyes. It was amazing. And these things can occur and do occur all the time because you're facilitating, you're actually giving the horse choice. And again, so in that world of horses, a lot of us are taught to project at horses, project based on how old they are, project based on if they're a stallion, a gelding, a mare, young or old, what kind of sports they do. And, you know, if they are a racehorse, they're going to be retired by the age of 4 and just live in a field for the rest of their life. It's like, no, you get to look at the points of view that everybody has. Or if you're in class, you get to look at all the points of view of what you can or can't do, what the horses can or can't do. You get to pock and pod them. And if a body process comes up, you can use the body processes. And then you get to allow the change to show up as it will. And if you let go of your point of view of how it's supposed to look, how it's supposed to be, what's supposed to happen, if this is going to turn out good, if you let all of that go, more magic and change can show up than you thought was going to be possible in the first place. Who was I? Another lady in class. She has ridden there was this one horse, Ella. She's so sweet, and she's a pretty crazy character. But every time she wouldn't let anyone get on her in class. But I had asked her, like, you can ask the horses too. Hey, who wants to come to class? Who wants to do the trust exercise? And you'll be surprised which horses want to do that thing that day. Not just the horse you thought was going to want to. But this one horse wanted to come do this one exercise. And so we brought the horse in, and then she would not let anyone get on her. I was like, okay, this is weird. And so a lady came in that usually rides the horses. She let her on her, except the horse started bucking her, like would not stop bucking. She was like, what the heck's going on? So we just asked, hey, have you known this horse in another lifetime? So how many horses have you all known in other lifetimes? And we asked her, will you destroy and uncreate all of your oaths, your vows, your fealties, communities, your promises, your commitments, and all the decisions, judgments, and conclusions you made in any lifetime with that horse or any of the horses you guys know? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And the awareness we got out of that was that they had been bucking bronco stars, or like the last lifetime that they knew together had a lot of bucking involved. So we asked the horse, hey, will you let go of that? Everything that allows that to exist, all the decisions you guys made together, will you destroy and uncreate all of that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, pock, all 9 shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. The second we pock and potted that, the horse relaxed. She lowered her head. There was no more bucking, and they just walked around the round pen. No problem. Like that's what they've been doing the whole time. So this stuff truly can create so much change so fast. And these are just a couple of examples of what can change. So again, to answer your questions, what can this add to other things that you're already learning? so much because you get to ask questions, you get to add body processes, and you get to ask for a reality that you haven't considered possible this lifetime. And you get to explore letting go of like the mold of who and what you think you are. So when, if you go take a class, you kind of are on a timeline sometimes of, well, I need to learn this before I learn this, and I probably can't do this because whatever, because I didn't grow up with horses, or because I'm just not that good of a rider, or this person's better than me. Once you let go of all of your reasons and justifications for why not, you would be surprised for what shows up of what you can do. Yeah. Yay. Any other questions for now? There's a book that you can get right now. It's super inexpensive. I will check to see if it's in Spanish and Portuguese too, but it's definitely in English. But it's called Talk to the Animals. And there is so much, it's in Portuguese. I'm sure it's in Spanish too then. There is so much information in there. And when I first started, and now, it was like my Bible. So there's so many questions you can ask your horses, your animals. It's really cool. Like if you can't make it to a conscious horse, conscious rider class, or you're like kind of, on the fence or something, maybe just take a peek in there. And see what you see, because that book also changed my life. We'll put that it's in Spanish also. We'll put that in the follow-up email. Ibtihal, good to see you.
Yeah, you too. Hi, dear. I have a question from your experience with horses.
Yeah.
Do horses honor each other's, or some of them, do they bully each other's?
Ooh, great question. The answer is yes.
Yes, for which part?
Those parts. Horses, oh my gosh. You know how I take a lot of videos because I like my horse and the horses I'm with, we do a lot of questions, a lot of body processes. And whenever I take pictures with them, we've already facilitated stuff and we're both kind of like melted. So we look all like nice and yummy and cozy wozy. But when you get to watch horses in the wild, or even horses that are in captivity, and you maybe are going to we had to put some of our mares together that had been separate, like they had never been together, but we needed to move things around. So we put some of the mares together that were never together before. And oh my goodness, is that intense? Sometimes it doesn't always have to be. We pock and potted as much as we could before, like we're putting you guys together. But a horse is going to do what it needs to do in order to create what is going to be the strongest and most capable herd. So horses are individuals, but they're also herd animals and they're prey animals. So they have to make sure that they survive in the wild. And the weakest link is not going to be very effective if they are leading the horse herd. So they're going to start to figure out who is the strongest, the most aware, the fastest, and they're all going to start to create different jobs for that herd so that it can survive in the wild. And just because a horse is in captivity does not mean that their mind is not still wild. For the most part, of course, some horses can be pretty beaten out of them, or they're just, their mind's kind of not as wild as others. But for the most part, if you put horses together, they will kick, they will bite, and they will let each other know who's boss and who's not. And then that will all settle down. And of course, they'll challenge each other. So it's not so much about bullying like people would, but it's about, hey, who's the strongest? Who is the strongest in this area? Who has the most awareness? The alpha mare is the one that has the greatest zone of awareness. So And the stallion has the greatest zone of awareness, actually. So the stallion, like out in the wild, the stallion's going to be aware of where the danger is, going to let the alpha mare know, and the alpha mare is going to get the whole herd moving. So a lot of times I've seen the alpha mare, like if that horse doesn't move because she had just energetically asked the horses to move, she'll always whisper. Horses will always whisper, and then they'll, you know, yell, and then they'll scream, they'll kick, or bite. Remember that. That is very useful in life too. So, you know, if the horse doesn't move in the pen when she wants the other horse to, she will then put her ears down and like look like she's gonna bite. And if that horse still doesn't move, she's gonna bite, or she'll kick, or whatever. She'll use a bigger energy to ask the horse to let's go, or else you're gonna die if you don't listen to me. So that some horses misbehave because maybe they don't like where they are, or, you know, it just depends. You get to ask questions and get awareness. But did that help with your question? Now I forget the first part.
No, yeah, it helps. Yeah, it helped a lot. I'm just because Gary said that everything he learned from a horse. So I'm asking everything about what I'm having in the reality or what I'm seeing. What would a horse be? What would a horse do? What would nature be? So yeah, yeah, you said something like if you are not normal and you are a leader and you are putting yourself in a normal spot, that will not what I took from your answer to, or from your awareness, sorry. You will not be in your spot until you are willing to lead.
Right, be the leader of your own reality. So have you started hanging around horses more?
Yeah, I'm scheduling that. It's like like you said in the beginning of the call, that horses, oh no, in the email, that horses are talking and asking so loud. Yes, I'm getting invitations for more horses in my life, and I'm willing to schedule. And what would it take to have the class?
Yeah, definitely. What would it take?
Mm.
Yeah, great ask. I would say, yeah, get around horses, and even if you can take lessons or come to the class, oh my gosh, that there's these classes. There's about, I don't know, like 12 facilitators for conscious horse, conscious rider, kind of sprinkled all around the world. So if you can get a facilitator to come, awesome. And if not, might be fun to travel to. But getting on the horse actually, or getting around the horse even, is going to give you a better perspective of what Gary's talking about. Everything I learned from a horse. So even when, oh my gosh, I used to be the most anxiety filled, like I didn't think I was. I thought anxiety was normal. And I didn't know that I was only talking to my dog. I thought I was talking to everybody, but I was really just talking telepathically to everyone, and I got to hide very well. And then I would go home and tell my dog everything telepathically because she was the only one that could actually talk to me in a way that was comfortable for me. Flash forward to Access Consciousness classes, flash forward to horses. A horse, of course, you can talk to telepathically, but it's also going to listen to all of the conclusions you're making, the decisions, the fear, the barriers. And that horse is going to be like, what? We have to worry about something? What are you worried about? I don't see anything. So now I'm going to feel extra scared. And if you're on the horse and you're like, have your barriers up, the horse is going to think something's about to kill us. So let's say talking in front of people. So there are about, there's 50 people on the call right now, 300 signed up. I was like, okay, 300 people. What does that bring up for you? If you were going to talk to and explain conscious horse, conscious rider to people from all over the world with all different kinds of experiences with horses, with all of their judgments, with all their expectations, the expectations you think people have, what would that bring up for you? And would your barriers go up? Would you be calm? How would you be on a horse? So wherever you go, whatever makes you uncomfortable, Whatever you're like, maybe even afraid to do, because when you think about doing it, it's like, oh, you can always ask, okay, if I were on a horse and I had to be interesting point of view about this, I had to be relaxed, I had to have my barriers down, otherwise the horse is going to freak out and take me with it, and I might get hurt. If I were on a horse right now, what and how would I be? And let me be that now for this Zoom call, for this interview, for going to talk to the tax person, for whatever you're about to do that makes you uncomfortable. What would I be like right now if I were on a horse? And let me be that now, right now. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. So can you sense, I can sense that in my body, even the whole room relaxing. And thank you guys so much for receiving that, because that was awesome. So that's one example of, everything I learned from a horse that Gary's talking about. And there are so many. Even now, I am like, anything, that one tool that I just used, if I were on a horse, how would I be right now? I use all over the place. And of course, it takes practice. So, I have horses that I'm more comfortable on, or it's easier for me to have barriers down. And Gary and Cody, the ranch manager of his place, they just said in an interview the other week, they were like, what if you always, you have your horse and you have the horses you like to ride, but what if you always asked to ride a horse that you're uncomfortable riding? That's a little bit past what you think your capabilities are, at least once in a while. And I was like, ooh, that's cool. And even asking that question. So even considering that, I was like, oh, that made even riding the horses I usually ride so much easier. And I started to create change and be around different horses at the ranch I work at. There's this one stallion that's really dangerous. He's new and he's crazy and all these things. And I was like, okay, if I didn't have to believe anybody, and if I was totally aware of him, and I was totally present with him, and I had all my barriers down, and I asked him, hey, will you take care of me? And if I got a no, I won't go in. If I get a yes, I'll go in. So I ended up going in with him, and I literally thought someone had drugged him. I thought they had given him CBD, because I went in there, he put his face on my hand. He doesn't have a hand. He put his face on my hand and just started like falling asleep. I was like, what is going on? I even asked the guy that works there, I'm like, did you drug this guy? He's like, no. I'm like, wow. So he got to relax. I got to just run body processes on him for a long time. He relaxed even more. And he let me, I was like, what else do you want? He's like, I want a spa day. I'm like, okay. So I got to brush his hair. I got to, put this mud stuff on all of his little sores, and he's got all kinds of crazy things going on. So I just gave him a spa day, and he just loved it. And then he went over and basically fell asleep, and it was just so relaxed, and his whole body looked different afterwards. So what else is possible with you truly being present, being the leader beyond anybody else's point of view, without the need for proving and without the need for sacrifice? And what is possible, with really trusting you and with what you know? And how can the horses facilitate a universe where you are included and they are included and everyone's included? Everything that doesn't allow you to know, be, perceive, and receive that, and allow in what's possible for you, will you destroy and uncreate it times a godzillion? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Awesome, you guys. Well, thank you very much for this little introduction. Thank you for joining me. I am so grateful for all of you. I hope to see you all around the world someday. You can go to conscioushorse.com to check out more Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider stuff. I think I'll say CHCR. That's shorter. If you want to, you can come, and I'm giving a class next month in Mexico City. You're all more than welcome. And in November in Brazil on the most beautiful beach in Brazil. So if you like beaches and horses, you know, the fantasy, come see us there. I can't wait. And we'll give you all that information in the follow-up email too. And of course, if you have any questions, always feel free to email or message on any of the social media stuff. Thank you so much, everybody. TTFN. Bye, you guys. Thank you.